Joy Lab.
Hi, I'm Tonya. I tried a recipe from the newspaper. Yes, I still read the newspaper. Wednesday is the food section, and I like to try the recipes that are new. This recipe was so good that I made it twice that weekend and one more time the following week. Delicious. And I started thinking, oh, I've got to come up with a way to make it into a freezer meal because this recipe is rather complicated. And I want a freezer meal so I can double the recipe, have some for dinner tonight, and then have some in the freezer for another time since it is so delicious. I figured it out. We're going to make a meal kit out of this complicated recipe that will live in your freezer for whenever you want to make this delicious recipe. And I'm going to read the name because it's one of those complicated names. Chicken and farro with sun-dried tomato and basil vinaigrette. Chicken and farro with sun-dried tomato and basil vinaigrette. Here's the chicken thighs. We're making a vinaigrette with sun-dried tomatoes, fresh basil, white wine vinegar, red pepper flakes, salt, and pepper. And then the marinated chicken will be cooked and mixed with a diced tomato, a whole thing of feta cheese. Oh, love that, love that. Some fresh spinach and farro, which is a grain that I've already pre-cooked. I did that in another recipe, in another video. I pre-cooked it in another video and you'll have to check that out to see how and why I pre-cooked my farro. If you don't have farro, you can use rice, you can use pasta. I'm going to show you with farro. Let's get started. I'm making this complicated recipe for you two ways. One recipe I'm making for dinner tonight. The other recipe I'm putting into a meal kit to put it in the freezer for another opportunity. So here we go. We need to make a vinaigrette to marinate the chicken. It takes a whole jar of sun-dried tomatoes and their juice. Get out of there. Got them all. It's 7 ounces, I believe. 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. 1, 2. Now, I do not like spicy foods. I was hesitant to put the whole teaspoon in. I did, and it was perfectly fine. 1 teaspoon red pepper flakes. 1½ teaspoon salt. 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Now I'm using my immersion blender to grind all of this up together. It has these little blades on the bottom and spin, spin, spin. It's very nice to use the container that it comes with to grind up what you need, and that's what we're doing for this vinaigrette. The recipe calls for 2 cups of basil, fresh basil. I got my little basil plant from the grocery store. Can you buy these at your grocery store? They're so fun. And then I can just put it in a pot of water and let the leaves survive, the ones that I don't need at that moment in time. 2 cups, I'm just going to fill my immersion blender container up to the top, and that's good enough. And I'll tear off the ones that are empty as we go. If you don't have an immersion blender, I would highly recommend that you get an immersion blender. Immersion blender. There is a link in the description below to an Amazon page where you can get one of these, and you can get it in any color you like, which makes it even more fun. Fresh basil smells so good, so heavenly. It's good stuff. When I grow basil in the garden, we never seem to eat it fast enough. Basil grows so fast, and then it goes to seed, makes those little flowers, and becomes too bitter to eat. All right, check this out. Very nice. This is the sun-dried tomato and basil vinaigrette the recipe talks about in the title. We are going to use half of it as a marinade and half of it as a dressing for the final mixture. I don't want to lose any of that marinade goodness. Half of it is going to marinate my chicken. This is 6 chicken thighs, boneless, skinless, chopped up into bite-sized pieces. I am going to cook it in my pressure cooker. That's why I'm using this tray. I have a link on Amazon to buy one of these trays in case that you have a pressure cooker of your own. This silicone tray works really well. Just make sure you prop it up on the little rack and put water underneath, and it will work really well for you. The second half of the vinaigrette is going to be the dressing. So half of it is for marinating the chicken and half of it is for the dressing. You want this chicken to marinate for at least 30 minutes. But because I'm using the pressure cooker, I can put it in right now. This is for dinner tonight. I'm going to reset and I'll start again and show you for our meal kit that we are making. I'll be back. I didn't need to do all that marinade stuff again for you. I measured and mixed. The cool thing about this immersion blender, which you can get one of your own, look in the link below, is this part comes off and goes in the dishwasher. So easy to clean up. Now, this is the meal kit that I'm making for later, yellow later. That's how I'm keeping everything separated. It's the same thing. We need half for the marinade for the chicken. We are going to put that in a Ziploc freezer baggie. I have it labeled chicken plus marinade. When you fill freezer baggies, turn them open at the top so that slimy stuff doesn't get in the Ziploc part. All of this chicken is going in there. I'm gonna have to use my hands, so I'll put the marinade in first. Half the marinade for the chicken, and half becomes vinaigrette. The dressing for everything when it's all mixed together. Blah. All right, just have to do it. Slimy, semi-frozen chicken thighs. I have to wash my hands before I seal this up. Now, here's the chicken and the marinade. You don't need to thaw it before it goes in the freezer. This is ready to be put in our meal kit. And the dressing is ready for its part. In fact, I can do them both at the same time. Here is the dressing for the dinner we're eating tonight. And here is the dressing for the meal kit that we're putting together for the future. Yellow later. Pink tonight. I couldn't think of a nice alliteration for that. Pink tonight, yellow later, pink now. Pink in the present. There we go. To the now, the present, I'm adding 1 diced tomato, a cup of diced spinach, and also for the yellow later, for our freezer meal kit, 1 cup diced tomato, and 1 cup of fresh spinach chopped up. Next comes the farro, and that's in the freezer. I'm going to run and get that. There, so you remember, yellow later, pink present. I have about 2 cups cooked farro that I've already frozen. And in pink present, the dinner for tonight, I'm just throwing the frozen farro in, and I'll let that thaw a little bit, come to room temperature, and stir it all together. This bowl is a really big bowl, and for this recipe, when you're mixing so many things together, you need a really big bowl. And if you don't have a really big bowl, there's a link in the description below to Amazon where you can get a really big bowl. Click on it and you can see what size I'm talking about. Buy it there or buy it on your own, doesn't matter. But that is an important thing to have if you're going to continue on your freezer meal journey. Everyone needs a really big bowl. I am not going to yellow later. I'm not going to put the frozen farro in with the dressing because I don't want the frozen farro to get soggy. I'm going to put this dressing with the tomato and spinach in its own quart size freezer baggie. Now this fresh spinach and the fresh tomato, once they're frozen, they're going to change texture. They won't lose their flavor, but the spinach will not be crispy anymore and the tomato will probably just blend in with the rest of the dressing. But that's okay. That's okay, because in the pink present, eat it tonight one, the spinach gets wilted because we're adding the hot chicken to it. So they end up tasting equal. All right, I think we have all that we need for our yellow later, our meal kit for this recipe for chicken and farro with sun-dried tomato and basil vinaigrette. I'm going to put all the pieces together in a freezer-safe Tupperware. And Tupperware, it's not Tupperware, it is Ziploc. The company is Ziploc. I have these freezer labels. They are the best ones I've found because they rinse off in water. Rinse off in the dishwasher. You don't need to scrub them off of your freezer containers. They don't leave any sticky residue. I have one label that has the long title, Chicken and Farro with sun-dried tomato and basil vinaigrette, and one that has the instructions. Thaw overnight in the fridge. Bake the chicken. Mix all together. And that's what this meal kit is going to be. Put my stickers on. I think that's crooked. Oh well, that's good enough. You see in here we have the farro and we have the marinade plus tomato plus spinach mixed together. We don't have the chicken yet. I'll have to see if my chicken is done in the pressure cooker. And the other thing that we must add is a whole container of feta cheese. And I will do that at the very end. I want to have a complete meal kit, so I am going to freeze this whole intact container of feta cheese. Let's hope the chicken fits. I need to get some air out of this chicken so it will fit. It doesn't quite fit. Ta-da! Now it's okay that it's bulging because everything inside is in freezer safe containers. This is our yellow later meal kit. I'm going to run this to the freezer and check on the chicken, see how it's cooking in my pressure cooker so I can put it in here with pink present, the meal that I'm preparing for the present. See you soon. Oh, look at that. The chicken with the marinade and the cookiness, that's weird. The cookness, it's done. Let's just say it's done. We are going to add it to the farro with spinach and tomato and that dressing. And while the chicken was cooking, the farro has been thawing and will thaw even more once it gets heated by this hot chicken. You can see how the heat is making the spinach wilt and the tomatoes, the fresh tomato, to release all of its juices. And last of all is the feta. You can see why I need a really big bowl. dinner is served. I should try some. I know it's delicious. I don't need to, but I do want to. Get a little of the chicken, a little of the farro, a little of the feta, a little of the spinach. And I love the flavors. And it's super healthy because it has the fiber and it has the vitamins and it has the protein. I love this dish. You can see how it's complicated and how I wanted to put a meal kit together. Freezer meals are all about making your life easy at dinner time. You don't want to do this, all of this. You saw how long that took, how many different steps there were. You don't want to be doing that on a weeknight. You've got too much else going on. Homework and dance recitals and gym class and whatever you do. I know what I do in the evenings, and sitting and cooking something as delicious as this takes too much time for a weeknight. Freezer meals, go for it. You can do it. I have resources in the description below, video courses, books, links, all sorts of resources that will help you on your voyage to make your life easier with freezer meals. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share. That helps YouTube know to put my video in front of other people who are interested in making their life so much easier with freezer meals. I'm Tonya. Thanks for watching.
Joy Lab. Learning done right.
Learn more with Joy Lab. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Visit us at www.joylab.biz. Thank you.